Now, live from the desert's news leader, this is Breaking News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeff Stahl. Alex Batra is off today at noon. Here's a look at the news we are following right now. Another busy day. We begin with the latest on that massive search effort for a triple homicide suspect right here in Southern California. We've been bringing you live coverage all today on this second day, a straight day search for Christopher Dorner. He is still wanted for the deaths of 3 people. We're waiting for a news conference which is expected to begin shortly in Big Bear with law enforcement. First, though, let's get caught up on the weather outside. A cold winter storm is moving in. Take a look at that snow. It's bringing snow up to Big Bear, where that law enforcement search has been underway, and it's bringing winds to the Coachella Valley. Jerry Stephan now with that first alert forecast. Jerry.
That's right. You need chains up in the mountains. 57 degrees right now, and it's been holding steady at 57 over the past 3 hours. But it's the main concern is the winds, as you mentioned, Jeff. 20-mile-an-hour sustained winds at the airport. Last gust up to 25 and even beyond that in some other areas. That's because we have a system just to the north of us. Moving into California, you can see green here, spotty rain in much of Southern California, and especially to the west of us. We've got rain that's moving through the Banning Pass area. Nothing over the Coachella Valley, but especially when you get to San Bernardino and Riverside, some heavier rain shower activity there. And the blue indicating a lot of snow. This has been snowing since overnight this morning, and Big Bear and much of the San Bernardino Mountains under a winter storm warning. We're expecting 4 to 8 inches there, and with the winds we're getting here, we're expecting the severe wind weather to continue through tonight. Matter of fact, 23-mile-an-hour winds at last report at 29 Palms, 20 sustained, as I mentioned, at Palm Springs, 17 at Thermal Imperial at 16-mile-an-hour sustained winds, gusting up to 40 and 50 still possible in the area. As far as temperatures, not going to get much warmer than we are right now, and the cool stuff will stick around. We'll examine the wind advisory and the winter storm warning, all coming up on the full forecast in just minutes, Jeff.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Again, we are waiting for a live press conference that's set to begin any minute now. We're going to take you live up to Big Bear when it does start. In the meantime, let's get you caught up to date on what's exactly happening in that search for a former LAPD cop, now an accused cop killer. Brandy Hitt has the latest.
Going door to door, the manhunt for accused cop killer Christopher Dorner continues in the snowy mountains east of Los Angeles.
We searched all night. We did not discover any additional evidence, and we certainly did not locate him.
The former LA officer's burned-out truck was found nearby Thursday after police say he went on a deadly shooting rampage throughout Southern California, targeting officers and their families in revenge killings.
I believe in gun control, but I'm sort of scared and wish I had a gun.
Families in Big Bear are on edge and schools remain closed. Dorner's former elementary school in Norwalk is also closed because it was listed in his alleged angry online manifesto, where Dorner claims he was wrongly fired by the LAPD in 2008 for reporting abuses. Bill Bratton was the commissioner at the time.
I really have no recollection of his particular case. He would have been fired by me, and in that I was chief of police at that time.
Police believe the expert marksman is heavily armed, and officers throughout the region are still on high alert.
Of course he knows what he's doing, and we trained him. He was also a member of the armed forces.
Dorner calls the LAPD corrupt and racist, and he even sent a package to CNN's Anderson Cooper last week trying to clear his name.
He wanted to be part of something that he believed in.
But even Dorner's ex-girlfriend, Ariana Williams, is now scared for her life.
I don't see like a peaceful resolve or peaceful ending in the situation just because he's committed so many heinous acts.
Investigators say Dorner could be anywhere at this point, with their search now stretching to Nevada, Arizona, and northern Mexico. Brandy Hitt, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Riverside residents are mourning the death of a Riverside police officer allegedly killed by Dorner. 100 people attended this vigil at City Hall last night. Authorities withholding the name of the officer killed, but we do know that he was a 34-year-old father of 2. He allegedly ambushed the 11-year veteran, that is Dorner did. He ambushed the 11-year veteran and a trainee while they were both stopped at a red light. They were out on routine patrol yesterday morning. Family and friends at that vigil in Riverside were very emotional, calling the incident surreal.
The mother-in-law is one of our best friends, and our hearts break for them and their family. Our hearts break.
You worry about the guys that are trying to do right and bring him to justice. So it's just a way to say, hey, we care and we thank you for what you do.
Flags are being flown at half-staff throughout Riverside County through this next Thursday. The search for Dorner again, not just here in Southern California. SWAT teams sealed off a neighborhood before the FBI searched his Las Vegas home yesterday. Agents haven't said whether other evidence was found in Dorner's two-story home about 9 miles southwest of the Vegas Strip. Las Vegas police, the Nevada Highway Patrol, FBI, and U.S. Marshals are keeping an eye on Interstate 15 and other southern Nevada roads. Dorner's story is adding some fuel to the debate over the need for more gun laws here in California. As Nanette Miranda reports, several state lawmakers have introduced bills that will be at the top of their agenda.
50 shots fired in a span of 30 seconds. The police chief of one of California's violent cities says he needs help getting guns off his streets.
I live a mile away from that intersection, so I can tell you firsthand this is a quality of life issue.
To help local cities, Senate Democrats unveiled a package of 10 bills that'll be top priority this session, needing only a majority vote. In recent weeks, they've talked up requiring a permit to purchase ammunition and seizing weapons from people who aren't supposed to have them. But they also now want to ban detachable magazines.
Okay, we're going to interrupt that package because we want to take you to that law enforcement news conference that's getting ready to begin up in the Big Bear area. Again, this after authorities discovered Dorner's burned pickup truck in that area yesterday. Let's take you to a live news conference. San Bernardino County Sheriff John McMahon is getting ready to speak here shortly. As you can see, the snow continuing to fall. The media has gathered around. It's quite cold. Here he comes up to the microphone, earlier saying that 100 personnel involved in that search in the Big Bear area, that they're using specialized equipment such as armored personnel carriers equipped with chains to help them navigate all the snow-covered roads. Now, meanwhile, other areas of the Southland, police also maintaining security details aimed at protecting colleagues named as targets in a manifesto written and posted online by that 33-year-old suspect, happening on Monday. Let's take you now and listen to the sheriff.
Right. Good afternoon. We're continuing the search up in the area I spoke about before, up in the mountains. It's about 8 square miles is what we're searching. There's about 200 empty cabins that we're going to check one by one using our SWAT guys that I explained earlier. We're using snowcats and APCs with chains on them to get to those areas. We're methodically searching each building as we get to it. Our guys are making great progress at this point, but the search continues. Have no new information in regards to the suspect or his location.
Apparently we are having some trouble with the audio there. Again, this is the sheriff of San Bernardino County, Sheriff John McMahon.
Via you folks as well as through the city to make sure that they know we have as many resources here as possible. As I said earlier, Congressman Paul Cook is behind us 100%, as are the Board of Supervisors in our county, James Ramos, the supervisor for the 3rd District. So let me get the mayor up here to say a couple of words. Mayor Jay Obernolte.
Thanks, Sheriff. I am Jay Obernolte, Mayor of the City of Big Bear Lake, and on behalf of the city, I'd like to welcome you to our mountain community. I'd apologize for the weather, but in Big Bear, we call this a beautiful winter morning. I want to start by thanking all of the members of the law enforcement community that are taking time out of their busy lives to be with us here in Big Bear. I want everyone to know that you're making a big difference. The residents of our community feel very safe knowing that you're here. We obviously have a very substantial law enforcement presence, so I want to thank you very much for being here. The question that I've been asked most often is there panic in our community up here in Big Bear because of this situation? No, there's no panic. We're very hardy residents here in the San Bernardino Mountains. Many of the people here are armed. My fear has actually been not that panic would ensue, but more that someone up here would see something and take the law into their own hands. I want to urge anyone, if you see something, just remain vigilant, call 911, report it to the law enforcement communities, let them deal with it. I've also been asked a lot about the decision to open the ski resorts today. I want everyone to know that that decision was made in close conjunction with the law enforcement community up here. We've been assured that the suspect does not pose a substantial threat to the ski resorts or the surrounding community. That's why the ski resorts are open. If the situation changes, obviously we'll reassess that decision. So thank you very much. Enjoy your time here in Big Bear.
Sheriff, how is it possible to ensure that the suspect's not a danger to the community if he might be here?
In addition to the mayor, we have Councilmember Bill Yon here with us as well. We're continuing the search, and our plan is to continue to do that throughout the day and throughout the weekend should we need to. If we discover any information that gives us any idea that he is either no longer here or we're able to capture him, then things will change and we'll get back to you and let you know. The vehicle I talked about earlier is in our possession in San Bernardino. We're turning over all the evidence and the vehicle to the Irvine Police Department.
Do you know at this point how the fire started in that truck?
I do not.
And do you also have a sense at this point whether this weather is hampering your efforts? I know you said earlier you brought in special equipment, but still it's been snowing for 5.5 hours.
Sure, it's still snowing, but our folks are dressed correctly and we have the right equipment to get to the search areas that we need. Certainly it'll be a little bit slower to get to each individual area on foot because of the weather, but we're continuing to push forward.
What are you looking for? What kind of signs could you possibly see in these conditions if you can't see tracks or anything like that?
We could see tracks in this kind of condition. The snow is great for tracking folks, as well as looking at each individual cabin to see if there's any signs of forced entry.
What evidence did you find in the truck? The footprint that you found near the truck yesterday, I mean, were you able to trace them to anywhere, really? What happened with that?
We continue to follow the footprints, as I said earlier. Yesterday, when we found them leading away from the vehicle, we followed them throughout the mountains on 2 different forestry roads until we lost sight of them.
Sheriff, do you basically need him to show up somewhere else before you would call off his search? What would it take to end your search?
Some reasonable information that would suggest that he's no longer in this area.
Hey, Sheriff, what evidence did you find in the truck? Can you tell us what you found in the truck?
I cannot tell you what we found in the truck at this point. We're going to release everything, the truck and any evidence, to the Irvine Police Department, and they will be the ones that will release any information in regards to that.
Is this an area that someone can disappear easily, given that area?
Well, certainly there's over 200 cabins that are up in those mountains that are abandoned or vacant, and we're checking those one by one.
Are they Forest Service cabins, or are they vacation homes?
Some are.
Talk to us about resources and personnel. How many people do you have on the mountain now? Talks about the snowcats, etc.
Well, we have over 100 people here again today. We're staffed up in 12-hour operational periods. We're going to continue that staffing level throughout the weekend. We'll reassess as we get closer to the first of next week. We already talked about the snowcats and the vehicles we're using to get around. We're not having any trouble at all getting to the places we need to search.
If you don't know where he is, how can you be sure that he doesn't pose a substantial threat to the ski resorts?
We've searched the entire area around the ski resort. Our SWAT officers are up on that mountain looking for him. There's no information to suggest he's anywhere near the ski resort itself, and we've also searched all the houses, door to door, in this general area.
Are you using dogs also? I saw a canine unit down here, but we really haven't heard much about that.
Certainly, there are dogs here as well.
How many dogs you got out there?
I have no idea.
And so that helps, but when you have the snow, the sniffing still works pretty well.
Can't tell you that.
Can't tell you that,
yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll get it today.
They will get it. We'll have a final...
Okay, there you go. A news conference just wrapping up there. The sheriff of San Bernardino County, Sheriff John McMahon, also the mayor of Big Bear, thanking law enforcement for their presence and giving the residents there of Big Bear a sense of security. They say they're not panicked, that they're hardy mountain people, many of them armed with weapons themselves. They're being urged to remain vigilant, call 911 if they 911, that is, if they see anything suspicious, but that they don't believe the suspect poses a substantial threat to the ski resort or the community. That's why they've reopened. But again, that search sounds like they plan to continue searching today and throughout the weekend until they either find the suspect, Dorner, or until they know for a reasonable fact that he is not in that area. Do stay with News Channel 3. We are continuing to cover this story of an accused cop killer, killer of 3 people that is the subject of an intense manhunt all around Southern California, in fact, extending into neighboring states today at noon. We're going to have more news for you coming up right here on the Desert's news leader. Also, the latest on this story and other stories at KESQ.com. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. There is no word on a fire's cause at a Rancho Mirage nursing home. Firefighters called to the Emeritus Assisted Living Center on Country Club Drive near Bob Hope just after 7 o'clock last night. They found heavy smoke and flames coming from that building. Crews evacuated the center. They quickly contained the flames, they say, but the first and second floors still suffered smoke and water damage. One person was taken to a hospital for treatment. Also in Rancho Mirage, the old Chart House restaurant will not be rebuilt. The demolition could start as soon as today on that longtime landmark. It was destroyed by flames. The Rancho Mirage City Council voting yesterday to tear down the building along Highway 111. A fire there last year caused more than $5 million damage to that restaurant. It was most recently Gigi's Island. Last month, the City Council held a public hearing and decided to delay a vote on whether to demolish the building. It was designated a landmark largely because of its unique architectural design, tucked up as well against a rocky hillside. The Desert Fashion Plaza Mall, downtown Palm Springs. Take a look, getting ready to come down. That demo work began yesterday afternoon after Mayor Steve Pugnier in his annual State of the City address. The first phase of that plaza project should be completed by the end of next year.
Last year we did the Bank of America building, and now we have Maryland. And now we are starting to tear down one of the entrances of the Fashion Plaza. All the inside will be gutted and then taken out, because we don't want any major demolition on Palm Canyon during season, obviously, for our merchants. But then everything else starts coming down. And, you know, it's the next phase. It's exciting. We've made it happen. People have worked together. And, you know, I'm honored.
One other question.
A four-star hotel that is part of that phase should be finished by early 2015. That portion of the project, though, is facing a hurdle with an opposition group, which is trying to get a measure on November's ballot, could stop or delay the work. Now, it all comes at a cost of more than $100 million. We've got a winter storm warning for our local mountains today. Jerry Steffen standing by with the latest on that.
That's right. It's been snowing since this morning in the Big Bear area and the surrounding mountains. Also for us, though, it's more about the wind. It's been strong since last night. Wind advisory in effect through tonight as well. And we're going to see the temperatures stay well below average as we move into the next couple of days. Right now, 23 degrees at Big Bear Lake. Winds out of the southwest there at 10 miles an hour with snow falling. That makes a wind chill of about 10 degrees above zero. We'll take a look at your forecast next. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader.
Now, First Alert Weather with Jerry Steffen.
Well, it started in the 50s and hasn't gotten out of the 50s. It's going to stay there, too. 57 degrees over the past 4 hours in Palm Springs at the airport. Winds at 6 miles an hour. That's lightened up a little bit, but we're still going to see some strong winds continuing through this evening and even tomorrow morning before they begin to let up. 47 degrees at Joshua Tree, 44 at Yucca Valley currently, 20 at the Tram, 25 at Idlewild, 62 at Thermal, and 57 degrees with some sunshine at Thousand Palms. That system we've been watching over the past couple of days now centered over central and southern California, making its way slowly to the east, but a lot of rain wrapping around that system and a lot of the precipitation basically to the north and to the west of us. Here's a look at the satellite imagery. You can see the rotation right here. The low pressure center beginning to move its way a little further to the east, and some of that moisture being pulled up against the west side of the mountains. Here's a shot of our radar imagery. You can see a little blue along the Sierra Nevadas and even around our mountains too. A little bit of snow falling there and most of it offshore, but you can see rotating and pushing in from the west to east, and that'll continue all the way through later today. A little closer shot of what's happening around the Coachella Valley. Mountains getting a lot of snow right now. Big Bear City, Big Bear Lake, all the way over to Arrowhead. We're looking at some snow falling. That will continue over the next couple of hours too. As far as what we can see on our radar, if you're heading west toward the Banning Pass, you'll encounter a little bit of rain activity. As I mentioned, San Bernardino Mountain's getting quite a bit. On and off showers around Beaumont and Banning, and the majority, the heavier rain, to our west. Matter of fact, through I-10 all the way to Redlands, you can see some heavy shower activity happening. That'll continue through tonight. As the system pulls away, the rain will begin to pull out of here as we move into tomorrow. But looking at our forecast models, rain in and out of the area. As we move into the overnight hours tonight, begins to pull its way into Arizona. We'll begin to clear out a little bit. Sunshine for tomorrow, at least mixed with some clouds moving in and out. That'll be the case on Sunday too, but then more sunshine as we move into early next week. Winds a big issue today. 15 to 30 mile an hour sustained winds in the upper Valley, all the way through the Banning Pass. That will once again let up, but still breezy conditions in our forecast. So, a wind advisory in effect through tonight. We've got a winter storm warning in effect for the mountains for tonight. As far as rain totals, Coachella Valley may be nothing at all to possibly 5/100ths of an inch more in the mountains, of course. Our 7-day forecast keeps us on the cool side in the wake of that system pushing through the area. 57 degrees today. We're there right now, but don't expect it to warm up any more than it is on the thermometer as it reads. 62 degrees tomorrow, 65 on Sunday.
You get the Tour de Palm Springs tomorrow. You've got the Dr. George Carr show at the Indian Wells Tennis Garden. There at the lawn. Is that going to
well, the rain should be all done as far as the Coachella Valley tomorrow. I mean, we're probably not going to see anything today, maybe a sprinkle or two passing through. Nothing to worry about there. It's the winds that's the concern. Concerned about. They'll back off tonight a little bit, but still quite breezy as we move into Saturday.
Okay, so bring a duster for those fancy cars.
That's true, yes. Blowing dust and sand, exactly.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Well, flights are being canceled by the thousands today. This ahead of that massive snowstorm expected to clobber the Northeast later on. There could be up to 2 feet of snow and strong winds from New York to Maine and Vermont. Lindsay Janis has the latest on the path of that storm.
In a Chicago suburb, the driver of this snowplow lost control, striking a city bus, sending it into the front yard of a house. The Midwest has been hit hard by the storm, but the Northeast is expecting worse.
Stay off the roads. Stay home. Let the public works crews do their job.
For Boston, it could be a record breaker with up to 3 feet of snow possible, the most since the 1800s.
Wind blowing between 40 to 60 miles per hour. That's what makes it historic.
Here's what it looks like. The storm that slammed the Great Lakes yesterday is joining forces with one from the south, creating a powerful nor'easter. Add an injection of Arctic air, and conditions will be deadly. Blizzard warnings for 7 states from Maine to New Jersey. Schools are shut, workers are being told to stay at home. If you're going anywhere, forecasters say get there by this afternoon and don't plan on getting out.
I'm trying to get some early flights out since our flights for tomorrow, original flights, have already been canceled.
Airlines have already canceled 3,700 flights through Saturday, and mass transit systems will be shutting down this afternoon. People are stocking up on supplies.
This is panic shopping.
This grocery store in Salem, Massachusetts became so crowded the fire department was called in. In coastal areas, there's concern about the blizzard hitting during a full moon and creating a giant tidal surge.
We don't want to take a chance losing power, and it gets quite windy here. You can't really sleep at night. So.
Here in New York City, we're being pelted by an icy rain. It's accumulating as slush on cars and on the sidewalks. We're told it's going to be full-blown snow by this evening. Lindsay Janis, ABC News, New York.
The Super Bowl, long gone, but one of its biggest talkers and talking points back in the headlines today. Coming up, we have finally learned what caused that huge power outage that put the game on hold. You're watching the Desert's News Leader.
KESQ.com is the home of News Channel 3 on the web, your trusted online source for local news, weather, traffic, and Valley events, anytime from anywhere. News Channel 3 at KESQ.com is the Desert's online news leader.
This is the greatest conspiracy in all of human history. I solved this.
You saved the world.
0 Hour. Series premiere Thursday, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Palm Springs Nissan. Highway 111 and Perez Road. In the Cathedral City Auto Center.
Closed captioning brought to you by General Air Conditioning. For all your air conditioning needs, call the General.
Hibachi City Buffet offers 98 items daily for lunch and dinner. Seafood dinner offers shrimp, sushi, crab legs, salmon, and more. Our $7.99 lunch buffet features beef, chicken, shrimp, hibachi barbecue, and Mongolian grill. Monday through Thursday dinner is only $11.99 and just $12.99 Friday and Saturday. Sunday all-day dinner is only $12.99. Seniors enjoy 20% off dinner 4 to 6:30 p.m. and 10% off all other times. Hibachi City Buffet in the Costco Shopping Center on Dinah Shore in Palm Desert.
Come shop the Rancho Mirage Plaza on Highway 111. Browse our array of stores. Visit our fashionable clothing boutiques. Pick up a decorative plant. Find one-of-a-kind deals at our consignment shops or cards for that special occasion. From patio furniture to hairstylists to getting your favorite shoes repaired, the Rancho Mirage Plaza has something for you. The Rancho Mirage Plaza with plenty of secure parking on Highway 111 between the river and the Elephant Car Wash. Come see what you're missing at the Rancho Mirage Plaza.
The worst of the flu season may be over. The number of states reporting intense or widespread flu dropped again last week. Deaths from flu or pneumonia have been dropping for 2 weeks. The flu season started about a month earlier than normal. It's been 9 years since a flu season started like this one. That proved to be one of the deadliest. This flu season has been labeled moderately severe. New today at noon, the maker of a device blamed in the power outage that interrupted the Super Bowl, now reacting. S&C Electric Company of Chicago says that outage would have been avoided had the operator of the relay device had set a higher trip threshold level. A statement from the company didn't name the operator, but the equipment was owned and installed by Entergy New Orleans, a local utility that supplies power to the Superdome. Earlier today, Entergy had said the device was the cause of that outage. Well, the search for a former LAPD officer continues in Big Bear and around Southern California as authorities continue to follow footprints from a pickup truck he might have left behind. Still had the latest on that story. Plus, the Tour de Palm Springs kicking off today with a vendor expo. We're going to take a look at the family fun being offered this weekend. That and all your top stories today at noon right here. The Desert's News Leader continues.
You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader, live in high definition. This is News Channel 3 at noon.
It is the bottom of the hour. I'm Jeff Stahl. Alex Batres is off today. It is time for another look at the news we are following here today at noon. It is snowing up in Big Bear, but authorities say that they are not letting it slow down their efforts to find an accused cop killer. We've got the latest on the search for Christopher Dorner. Now, the Tour de Palm Springs is also getting underway right now with a vendor expo. It's in downtown Palm Springs. Look at what the routes and the bicyclists that they will be taking tomorrow. First, we've got a storm moving into Southern California. It's bringing snow to the mountains already, winds to the desert. Jerry Steffen is in with your first alert forecast. Jerry.
That's right. It's been going on since this morning. Snow in the San Bernardino Mountains. Temperatures haven't budged all that much since this morning. 57 degrees over the past 4 hours. So basically, this is our high. Winds out of the west at 6 miles an hour. That is light compared to the readings we've had over the past couple of hours. Gusts up to 30, even 40 miles an hour reported in Southern California, in the Coachella Valley. Here's a system we've been watching. The low-pressure center spinning just to the north of us and pulling in some moisture on the back end of this system. A lot of rain and even snow above 2,000 feet. Beaumont reported seeing some snowfall on and off over the past couple of hours, and most of it, of course, in the San Bernardino Mountains. Above 4,000 feet, the heaviest snow falling, and that's been continuous since this morning, too. And they could get up to 8 inches total accumulation before it's all said and done. Nothing going on precipitation-wise over the Coachella Valley, but heading through Banning Pass and to the west, you will see rain. Winds, a big issue for us in the Coachella Valley and Southern California. 28-mile-an-hour wind speed right now at 29 Palm, 17 at Thermal, 21 at Imperial at last report. And gusts that could reach 40 and 50 miles an hour times. There is a wind advisory in effect through tonight. 58 degrees, the high. We're almost there by 1 degree. 62 at Indian Wells, 51 at Cabazon, 63 at Mecca. Yeah, we're not going to warm up much what we had this morning. We'll take a look at the full forecast, including another look at that snow in just minutes, Jeff.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Let's get you caught up to date on what's happening in the search for a former LAPD officer and an accused cop killer. In a news conference we brought you live right here on News Channel 3 at noon, authorities say that they have no new information on Christopher Dorner or his whereabouts today. Now, they are still searching hundreds of empty cabins for any signs of Dorner. And Big Bear's mayor says that they reopened the ski mountain, believing the suspect does not pose a substantial threat to the ski resort or to people in the community. Now, the search for Dorner began first on Wednesday evening when police identified the former LAPD officer officer as a suspect in the revenge killings of a college basketball coach and her fiancée. Monica Kwan and her fiancé, Keith Lawrence, were both found shot to death in Irvine. Police believe Dorner targeted Kwan because she is the daughter of Randy Kwan. He represented Dorner during a police department hearing that ended in his firing. Dorner blaming Kwan for ending his career as an LAPD officer. In an online manifesto, Dorner describes plans to begin a military-style assault against LA police. Now, here is what authorities said this morning.
Our people are trained to deal with incidents like this. We're doing the best we can, and our folks are out there doing everything they can to catch the guy, and it's their primary mission as well. Number one, to be safe, but number two, to catch this guy.
An LA jail was locked down this morning after reports of a sighting. Those reports turned out to be unfounded. Police say they plan to continue that search today for Dorner and throughout the weekend until they know where he is or that he's not in the Big Bear Mountain community. In his so-called manifesto, Dorner portrays himself as a good cop who became a victim of racism and conspiracy. He also says his crime spree is justified. The manifesto, an emotionally charged list of injustices Dorner says he suffered throughout his life. Among them, he says he was the only black student disciplined for fights during elementary school. Dorner says those fights were provoked by others who called him racist names. He goes on to say that fellow LAPD officers conspired against him, leading to a lawsuit and his eventual dismissal. But former FBI profiler Brad Garrett says the manifesto just shows Dorner craves attention.
He's a guy who feels powerless. And he's telling the world, look, I'm not going to take it anymore. You have wronged me, you LAPD, you other people in my life. This is sort of like ultimate narcissism, that it's all about me and I don't really care about the rest of you, and you deserve what I'm inflicting upon you.
In that manifesto, Dorner also talked about his time in the Navy Reserves, serving for nearly 13 years. He touted specialized skills. The Pentagon, though, says his training was routine, and he was once deployed to the Persian Gulf but was never in combat. A Pentagon spokesman also says Dorner failed to make the next rank up twice, a factor that led to his separation from the reserves. A Southern California school that Dorner attended is closing its doors for the rest of the week. Dorner mentioned the Norwalk Christian Elementary School in his manifesto, claiming he was racially bullied and abused there. He said a fellow student called him the N-word on the playground. Norwalk sheriff's deputies were seen setting up a post at that school yesterday. Authorities say the mention of the school in the manifesto is concerning, especially because of the uncertainty of that situation. Of course, do stay with News Channel 3. We are continuing to follow the latest developments on this story. Tune into News Channel 3 live at 5 for an update. You can also go online at KESQ.com and, of course, follow us on Facebook and our Twitter feed for the latest information. In other news, festivities for the 15th annual Tour de Palm Springs begin today with a vendor expo. This on North Palm Canyon between Tockwitz and Alejo. The expo features bike gear, local musicians, restaurants, and a beer and wine garden, too.
This is the only ride in America that you can gain weight in. And so we will have all kinds of food, drink, it's like a restaurant on wheels. So we welcome everybody to come down, bring the family, bring mom and dad.
The expo will continue till 10 o'clock tonight. It runs tomorrow as well from 9 till 8. Tomorrow, an estimated 11,000 bicyclists will ride anywhere from 1 to 100 miles through the Coachella Valley. Get ready to see them on the roads. Those cyclists raising money for a number of local charities. Here's some road closures you need to know about. Palm Canyon between Tockwitz and Amato is going to be closed until 6 p.m. tomorrow. Northbound Indian from Amato to Tachiva will be down to 1 lane from 6 to 11 tomorrow morning. A reminder from the CHP, this is not a race, it's just a fun ride. Riders and drivers have to share the road as routes vary throughout the Coachella Valley. The demolition for Phase 2 of the Desert Fashion Plaza in downtown Palm Springs is underway today. Mayor Steve Pugnet put on a hard hat to get things started ceremonially after delivering his State of the City address yesterday. News Channel 3's Tamara DeMonte has more.
It all started in the newly renovated Hilton Ballroom, where close to 400 people gathered to learn more about our city's progress.
fell through the roof.
He focused on the positive, the city's budget surplus, and was delighted to share that the total revenue has grown from 32% in 2008 to 48% now.
Help merchants purchase new signs. We had a tenant improvement program, which allowed tenants to expand their space. We had actually a waiving permit building program that helped new construction in the city of Palm Springs. So all of those incentive programs and that money, which was put into that, has helped drive these numbers.
As far as public safety goes, the city has seen overall crime decrease by 1%. But cases of theft decreased by 12%, and vehicle theft is down 21%.
We have maintained a level of service even during difficult times. Okay? No other city, we have a ratio of 2 per 1,000 residents, please. The national average is 1.7. There's no other valley city that comes close to what we have here in the city of Palm Springs. So even during these difficult times.
And a hot subject created quite a buzz. Marilyn Monroe.
Where's Marilyn? Where's Marilyn? I mean, which means hopefully they're staying in the casino and they're going.
So, what is Marilyn's fate?
However, I can tell you that an offer to purchase Maryland has been made by Palm Springs Resort.
Tamara DeMonte, News Channel 3.
Congressional spending cuts to the Defense Department could be costly for military families. Still to come, the Defense Secretary Leon Panetta and see what he's saying about smaller than normal pay raises. Plus, it's been 4 weeks now since the 787 Dreamliner was grounded. So when might they be in the skies again? Details on that coming up. You're watching the Desert's News Leader. New today at noon, U.S. military members and their families are wondering whether Defense Department budget cuts will mean longer deployments. That potential cut could come as the result of Congress's failure to trim the deficit by $1.2 trillion over a decade. The Pentagon facing a $42.7 billion budget cut over a 7-month period starting in March. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta proposing just a 1% increase in troop pay for 2014, down from a 1.7% increase this past year. In a recent speech, Panetta did not hold back his concern about Congress failing to reach a spending deal.
This is not a game. This is reality. These steps would seriously damage a fragile American economy, and they would degrade our ability to respond to crisis precisely at a time of rising instability across the globe.
For the Navy, those cuts would mean less money for training and maintenance, meaning it could take longer to prepare crews for deployments. Fewer ships would also be deployed to fewer places. Those that are sent out could spend longer time at sea with fewer port of calls. The grounding of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner is now entering its 4th week. The National Transportation Safety Board now saying that a battery in the belly of the plane is the focus of its investigation into fires on board. Renee Marsh has the latest.
All 50 Dreamliners in the world have been essentially grounded for 3 weeks and scrutinized after a string of incidents. The National Transportation Safety Board's investigation zeroes in on the plane's lithium-ion batteries. One caught fire in a Japan Airlines plane on the tarmac in Boston, and another burned in an All Nippon Airways plane flying over Japan, forcing an emergency landing. Investigators found the batteries on board both flights overheated, and the battery in Boston showed signs of a short.
Our investigators are examining not just the battery failure, we're looking at what caused that battery failure, but we're also looking at the certification process.
The Dreamliner is the first commercial plane to depend so heavily on lithium-ion batteries. They hold more energy in a lighter, smaller space, and were only allowed under an FAA condition that special safeguards were in place.
Well, that was Renee Marsh reporting there. By reviewing the certification process, the NTSB hopes to learn how the batteries were determined to be safe for flight. Ultimately, it'll be the FAA's decision when to lift the ban and allow those Dreamliners back in the sky. Our local mountains seeing a lot of white stuff today. Jerry Steffens standing by with the latest in the Weather Center.
That's right. We've got some snow in our mountains, but on the other end of the country, we're looking at some snow, too. Matter of fact, that snow is beginning to really come down. The storm off the mid-Atlantic coast will start to strengthen very rapidly over the next few hours. Yeah, it's not even at its full strength right now. This would allow very heavy snow to slam into Long Island and New England, and that will continue through tomorrow. Our forecast next, you're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader.
Now, First Alert Weather with Jerry Steppen.
Good Friday afternoon, 57 degrees, holding steady at that number for the past 4 hours. We began in the low 50s, and we're not going to get much warmer than we are right now. Matter of fact, cold air moving in as the sun tries to heat things up and becoming very unsuccessful at doing that. Joshua Tree 47, 58 at Thousand Palms, 38 degrees, 38 at Beaumont at this hour, and a little bit of snow falling through the Banning Pass, including that area. Numerous cars sliding into off the road, too, so dangerous conditions there. Even a little bit of freezing rain on the roadways. Here's the system that's bringing all this trouble. It's a low-pressure center just to the north of us, back end of it pulling in some moisture in the form of rain and, of course, snow above 2,000 feet. Scattered showers all the way from San Francisco down to San Diego and pushing inland in our area. Blue indicating snow and all that above 2,000 feet. Let's take a look at what we have around the Coachella Valley and surrounding areas. Of course, most of the rain falling against the mountains, and in the mountains we're seeing some snow. In fact, Big Bear City, Big Bear Lake, and the San Bernardino Mountains above 4,000 feet getting hit with the heaviest snow. That's where the snow warnings are in effect. The winter storm warnings through tonight could see upwards of 8 inches total accumulation. Through the Banning Pass, we've been seeing some light rain on and off and even turning to snow around Beaumont earlier today, and the rain just gets a little heavier as you move to the west past the Banning Pass, and even some hail reported through, well, just outside the Coachella Valley before you get to the Banning Pass. You can see that kind of a mix right here. That's that pink stuff, the mix between rain and snow. And it's just going to continue all the way through tonight before that system exits the area. Here's our forecast model, starting the clock at a couple hours. Let it roll through, on and off showers and rain for us. But by tonight, the system will pull its way to the east and will begin to clear out a little bit, and the rain will come to an end. Tomorrow, we'll see some clearing, some residual cloud cover on Saturday, but temperatures will stay on the cool side on the back end of that front. Now, as far as winds, that's what we have a concern about in the Coachella Valley and the mountains, of course. Sustained winds between 15 and 30 miles an hour, gusts higher than that, of course. But we will see the winds begin to back off as we move into Saturday, although they will still be on the strong side, not worthy of an advisory, but still between 10, 15, and even 20 miles an hour. That's why we have a wind advisory in effect. Add to that a winter storm warning for our mountains above 4,000 feet. For the rest of us above 2,000 feet, a winter weather advisory through tonight as well. 7-day forecast, staying on the cool side. Today, windy conditions, they'll begin to back off later tonight. Tomorrow, a high of only 62 degrees. The cool air sticks around Sunday and Monday before the warm-up begins on Tuesday of next week.
Okay, should be a doable weekend. We got the Tour de Palm Springs,
that's right.
Dr. George Carr Show in Indian Wells, but a little windy, breezy.
Right, we're not expecting a whole lot of rain for the Coachella Valley, a sprinkle or two at most, but most likely nothing at all. But it's the winds through tonight and still on the breezy side tomorrow.
Okay, plan ahead. Thank you, Jerry.
Sure thing.
A union going 80 years strong has made a Connecticut husband and wife the longest married couple in the U.S. Allie Reed spoke with them.
John and Ann Bitar have been married for more than 80 years. At 101 years old and 97 years old, respectively, they are the country's longest married couple.
Oh, we just fell in love, that's all. And
can you believe that 80 years
80
later,
years,
here you guys are?
They said it wouldn't last.
They tied the knot on November 25th, 1932, and have been by each other's side ever since. So what's their secret?
80 years. You know, it's just contentment.
Really living. I mean,
just
normally.
contentment. She's no problem. She's always never worked. She's always a cook, took care of her family. Good mother. Great mother.
He's always had his hand on my knee. Or my hair.
The happy couple met in Bridgeport. In fact, their houses were right here. They lived right across the street from each other. But their union almost never happened. That's because Ann's parents had arranged for her to marry someone else. That's when John and Ann took matters into their own hands and eloped.
We went to Harrison, New York. Yeah.
We didn't have any money to go any further.
They went on to have 5 kids, 14 grandchildren, and 16 great-grandchildren.
Your love grows, you know, and it grows in very good directions for the two of us.
Their record-breaking union has meant the phone at their Fairfield house has not stopped ringing. John and Ann can't believe they hold the record.
Hope we live more.
Kind of surprised me there aren't any more.
And congratulations to them. Allie Reed reporting there. An organization called the Worldwide Marriage Encounter named them the longest married couple. Here's a look at what's coming up this afternoon on News Channel 3. It's Extra Value Friday on the Chew. Michael Simon whipping up a decadent dish of the day. It's rich in flavor and easy on the wallet. That's next at 1. General Hospital at 2, and at 3, Katie looks at how the fastest growing minority in the U.S. is making the American dream a reality. And actor Ewan McGregor joins Ellen at 4. Live at 5, an ex-cop accused of killing 3 still wanted as authorities try to track him down. How that Big Bear snowstorm is bringing some hope to the authorities' search. A look at Wall Street next. You're watching the Desert's News Leader. On Wall Street, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 on track for another weekly gain. Let's take a look at the markets before they close for the week. The Dow up 34, the NASDAQ positive 29 points. The S&P 500 is also up 7 points. Check the ups and downs of the financial markets and the movement of your stocks on our website, that stock market tracker. It's right there on the money page. Check it anytime at KESQ.com. Weather-wise, the big storm. That's the news.
We're seeing some snow as low as 2,000 feet. The snow level has really plummeted. Beaumont seeing some snow earlier today. Most of it about 4,000 feet. Winter storm warnings in effect for the San Bernardino Mountains. Up to 8 inches of snow accumulated by tonight will be possible. 58 degrees. We're there right now, basically, so not getting much warmer. Tomorrow and again on Sunday, we'll see a little bit of cloud cover, but more sunshine and temperatures still below average. 62 for high on Saturday, still breezy, 65 on Sunday.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Thanks for joining us here on News Channel 3 at noon. We are back for News Channel 3 live at 5 and whenever news breaks. Have a great weekend.